Welcome to Service Configuration in SAP BTP. Today we will learn how to set up and connect BTP services. This means configuring cloud services and linking them to work together. For example, setting up an SAP HANA Cloud database and connecting it to your application so it can store data. Mastering this process is essential for building integrated solutions on the platform. You will create your first service instance and make services talk to each other. This means setting up a cloud service and connecting it to another, like linking a database to an app. For example, connect a user authentication service to your application so it can verify logins. This foundational step enables seamless integration between different SAP BTP services. This is where your architecture becomes real and functional. It means your planned solution starts working through actual services. For example, setting up an SAP HANA Cloud database turns your data storage plan into a live, usable system. Now your design actively supports business operations. A service instance is a provisioned cloud resource. Think of a service instance as your personal copy of a service. This means you get your own dedicated setup to use and configure, separate from others. For example, creating a service instance for a database gives you your own private database to store your application's data. This ensures your resources are isolated and secure for your specific use. Each instance has its own settings and configuration. This means you can customize it independently, like setting up different security levels or data storage options. For example, one service instance could be for development with test data, while another is for production with live customer data. This separation ensures each environment operates with its specific requirements. You can create multiple instances of the same service for different needs. This means one service, like a database, can be set up separately for distinct projects or teams. For example, you could have one instance for development testing and another for live production data. This flexibility allows you to manage and scale your resources efficiently for each specific purpose. Accessing the Business Technology Platform cockpit. Log into your BTE account. This means signing in securely to the web-based management interface for SAP Business Technology Platform. For example, as a developer, you enter your credentials to access tools and services for building applications. This initial step is essential for managing your cloud resources. Navigate to your global account and sub-account. This means you first enter your main organizational space, then select the specific project area where your applications run. For example, if your company has separate development and production environments, you choose the correct one here. This step is essential for managing your specific resources and services. Click on Services in the left menu to see available services. This opens a catalog showing all services you can use, like databases or AI tools. For instance, if you need a database, you'd click here to find and activate SAP HANA Cloud. This is your starting point for enabling any service you need. Finding available services in SAP Business Technology Platform. In the Services section, you will see all available services. This is the central catalog in your BTE account. For instance, if you need a database, you browse there to find and enable the SAP HANA Cloud service. This single view makes discovering and selecting the tools you need straightforward. Each service shows its status and description. This means you can instantly see if a service, like a database, is ready to use and what it is for. For example, the SAP HANA Cloud service might show available with a description stating it is a managed in-memory database. This clarity helps you quickly select the right tools for your application. You can filter services by category or search for specific ones. This means you can browse groups like analytics or databases, or directly type a service name. For instance, if you need workflow automation, you can search workflow to find it quickly. This efficient approach helps you locate the exact tools you need without delay. Creating your first service instance, Step 1. Click on any service from the catalog. This means selecting a specific tool or capability from the available list to start using it. For example, to build a database for your app, you would click on the SAP HANA Cloud service. This simple action is how you begin provisioning any resource on the platform. Review the service description and capabilities. This means carefully reading the official documentation to understand exactly what the service does and what features it offers. For instance, before provisioning an alert notification service, you would check if it supports your required channels like email or Slack. This crucial step ensures you select the right service for your application's needs. Click Create to start the instance creation process. This is like getting a blank server ready to host your application. For example, before you can run a weather app, you must first provision the computing space for it. This single action initiates the setup of your service in the cloud. Step 2. Creating your first service instance. Give your instance a meaningful name. This means choosing a name that clearly describes its purpose, so you can easily identify it later. For example, if it's for a development project, you might name it Dev Payment Service. Using a clear name helps you manage your services efficiently and avoid confusion. Select a service plan that fits your needs. This means choosing the specific configuration and pricing tier for the service you are using. For example, when provisioning an SAP HANA Cloud instance, you might select the free plan for development or the standard plan for production workloads. Picking the right plan ensures your application has the necessary resources without overspending. Choose any additional parameters if required. This means configuring optional settings for your service, like storage size or access rules. For example, when creating a database service, you might set the maximum storage to 50 gigabytes. These choices let you customize the service to fit your specific needs perfectly. Service parameters are configuration values for your application. Parameters are settings that control how your service behaves. Think of them as configuration options you set when creating a service. For example, when creating a database, a parameter could be its memory size. This setting directly determines the capacity and performance of your database instance. Different services have different parameters available. This means each service you create, like a database or an application, has its own unique settings to configure. For example, when creating an HANA database, you set its memory size, but a messaging service would have parameters for queue capacity instead. Understanding these specific parameters is key to tailoring each service for your exact needs. You can usually change parameters after creating the instance. This means you can adjust the services settings without starting over. For example, you could increase the memory limit for a database instance if your app needs more resources. This flexibility allows you to adapt services as your requirements evolve. Configuring service parameters for SAP BTP applications. Some parameters are set during instance creation. This means certain configuration choices are made when you first provision the service and cannot be changed later. For example, when creating a database instance, you select the database system size. This initial setup is permanent, so plan these foundational settings carefully. Others can be configured after creation. This means you can adjust certain service settings even after the service is already running. For example, you can later increase the memory limit for an application without redeploying it. This flexibility allows you to optimize resources as your needs evolve over time. Always review default values and adjust as needed. This means don't just accept the preset configurations, check if they fit your specific needs. For instance, a default memory limit might be too low for your high-volume application, causing performance issues. Taking this step ensures your services run optimally and reliably. Understanding service bindings in SAP BTP. Bindings connect services so they can communicate. This means one service, like a database, can securely share data with another, like an app. For instance, binding a HANA database to an app lets the app safely read and write customer data. Essentially, bindings enable seamless and secure interaction between different services in your solution. Think of bindings as bridges between services. This means they securely connect separate applications or services, allowing them to share data and communicate. For example, binding an app to a database lets the app securely read and write data. This connection is fundamental for building integrated solutions on SAP BTP. A binding gives one service access to another service. This means you create a secure connection allowing them to communicate and share data. For example, an application can bind to a database service to store and retrieve user information. This connection is fundamental for building integrated solutions. Creating service bindings in SAP BTP. Navigate to your service instance details. This means finding the specific cloud service you have created in SAP BTP. For example, after setting up an HANA database, you'd locate its unique page in your account dashboard. This step is your starting point for creating any new service binding. Click on Bindings or Service Bindings. This action connects your application to a specific cloud service, enabling it to use that service's features. For example, binding an app to an SAP HANA Cloud database allows the app to store and retrieve data. This step is essential for integrating services seamlessly into your application. Select the target service and create the binding. This means choosing the specific cloud service you need and securely linking it to your application. For example, to add email capabilities, you'd select the SAP Alert Notification service and bind it to your app. This straightforward step grants your application access to the service's features. Testing service connectivity in SAP BTP. After creating bindings, verify they work properly. This means testing the connection you just made to ensure your app can actually communicate with the service. For example, after binding an app to an SAP HANA database, try running a simple query to fetch some data. This quick check confirms your configuration is correct and the service is ready for use. Check service status and logs for any errors. This means verifying your service is running correctly and reviewing detailed records to identify issues. For example, if an email service fails, you'd check its operational status and logs to find a configuration error. Consistently monitoring these ensures reliable connectivity and quick problem resolution. Test basic operations to confirm everything works. This means performing simple actions to verify your service is correctly set up and responding. For example, after connecting to an SAP HANA Cloud instance, try creating a small test table and inserting a row of data. This straightforward check ensures your connectivity is functional and reliable for actual use. Common setup issues and their corresponding solutions. If a service will not start, check your quota limits. This means your account may have hit its maximum allowed resource usage. For example, if your trial account has a 1 GB memory limit and you try to start another app when it is full, it will fail. Always verify your available quota first when services refuse to initialize. Binding failures often mean missing permissions. This means the application is trying to access a service, but its user or identity lacks the proper authorization. For example, a workflow app might fail to write to a cloud database because its service binding does not include the necessary database writer role. Always verify the roles assigned in your service binding to resolve this. Parameter errors usually need value adjustments. This means the system is rejecting a specific input you provided in a configuration field. For instance, if a timeout parameter expects a number like 30 but you entered 30, the system will fail. Always check the expected format and data type for each parameter in your setup. You have successfully completed your key accomplishments. You can now create and configure BTP service instances. This means you can set up and tailor cloud services in BTP to meet specific needs. For instance, you could create an instance of the SAP HANA Cloud service to manage your application's database. This foundational skill empowers you to build and customize solutions effectively. You understand how to connect services with bindings. This means you can securely link different cloud applications so they can share data. For example, binding your app to an SAP HANA database lets it read and write data directly. This foundational skill enables you to build integrated and powerful business solutions on SAP BTP. You can verify your services are working correctly. This means checking that your SAP BTP applications are running as expected. For instance, after deploying an employee directory app, you'd confirm it loads and displays data properly. This ensures your solutions are reliable and ready for use.